Nitai Parakamala Koti Chanja Sushitala Nitai Parakamala Koti Chanja Sushitala Echaya Yeah.
Otherwise you can't hear my voice. It goes too low. So.
On the 30th. Avatara Sara Gora Avatara.
Avatara Sara Gora Avatara.
Kinona Bhajiretare.
Kinona Bhajiretare.
Gaurāṅga, 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 Gaurāṅga.
Which page?
Gaurāṅga.
Next page. 31, 32. Gai Gaura Madhusare.
Gai Gaura Madhusare.
Gai Gaura Madhusare.
Gai Gaura Madhusare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Page 136.
Which page?
136.
What's the song?
A minor Gaurāṅga.
Ah.
No, sorry, no. A minor Gaurāṅga. Bine Nahime. Naya. You ready? 136. I have to try to think my lower voice, lower notes. No, I can't get this high note over my head now. If I start singing like that, you'll be singing with you. Here we go. And here we go. Gaurāṅga Bilinaya Emana Gaurāṅga Bilinaya He noya avotara Have ki hoeche He no prema parachara He noya avotara Have ki hoeche He no prema parachara.
You just carry on, Sundar.
Mati ati patita pasandi pranena merilo kore Jula mati ati patita pasandi pranena merilo kore Hari naam diye Vinaya sadiyo yatiya Gare Gare
Hari Namadiya Vijaya Shiro Rachegita Ore
Hari Namaniye Hidaya Sodilo Jashigira Gare Gare
Hari Namadiya Vijaya Shiro Rachegita
Abhiram Shira Vanchito de Preme Jagata Venilo Dhali Abhiram Shira Vanchito de Prema Jagata Venilo Dhali Gangale Paya Kailo Nachiye Bajaya Karakali Siye Kadiya Preme Gada Gadi Ulake Vya Piloranga Siya Kadiye Prema Gada Gadi Ulake Vya Piloranga Chandale Brahmane Kore Kolakali Chandale Brahmane Kore Kolakuli Kobe Bashilo Ranga Chandale Brahmane Kore Kolakuli Kobe Bashilo Gaye Radha Samana Rasa paiye kapata hanilo Antakiye samana rasa paiye kapata hanilo Rasa paiye kapata Tina bhuvana anande odilo Premananda, Imana Gaurāṅga Ratina Danilo Kohe Premananda, Imana Gaurāṅga Ratina Danilo Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Jai Saparika Sisi Guru Gaurāṅga Sundar Rādhā Giridhārījīu.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to see you.
Dayānidhi Prabhu.
I'm here.
They captured you. Huh?
The captain of Giridhārījīu and Kīrtan.
Just want to get an hour on time. You need to be there on time.
We made a deal.
Come out Jamaican time. You
I
know.
was late last night again.
You were late.
But I'll make it next time.
Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes.
Really? Wow, the altar looks like spring has sprung.
Yeah. Jai.
So it was Vasant Panchami a few days ago, the first day of spring, so by Indian calculation.
Jai.
And this looks like spring. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't appear in the world just to bring salvation to a certain class or race of people, but he came to give the universal religion to all living beings. And Guru Maharaj say, not just human beings, but all living beings throughout the universe. Not just this planet either, but all the planets. This is an extraordinary thing. Maybe it's in Chaitanya Shikshamritam by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There he's saying, the day will come when the fair-skinned Europeans and the people of all nations will come together with the devotees of Bengal and visiting the places of Chaitanya Dev's pastimes with their arms raised, singing Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. And when he says, when will that day come? When will that day come? And Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, he said, and when I first read that, I thought, yes, if Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said it, then it must be so, it must happen. But not in my lifetime, he thought. But now, he said, now we see, by the grace of Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, that's happening. Not just happening, happens. And we're also part of that. We are those, fair-skinned Europeans mixing with the devotees of Bengal with our arms upraised. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. And also there, in that same book, he says, and the day will come where every intelligent man and woman in this world will recognize that Chaitanya Dev's religion of love is the only panacea for all problems in the world. There's so many, a world of good causes out there that people can, devote themselves to. We see so much inequality and suffering and injustice and so on. And we can try and make some difference to that, carry a placard and stand outside the Houses of Parliament and, make a protest or whatever. But all of that is inconsequential, really, whatever the cause may be, because these things come and go all the time. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when he was out, many people are worried that there may be a nuclear war. Then of course we're on the brink of that right now. There are world leaders who are threatening to use those weapons in the world now. They're talking about it. Just the fact that they're talking about it. But Guru Maharaj say, his reply to that was, World War III, let it be. It's just a point on a line on a plane on a solid. It's like these things are coming and going all the time. So one day the whole world will disappear and then come back again. Everything that's in it. These things are unavoidable. Then there's not much we can do to influence our environment because it's beyond our control. We're very small living beings, All these, we're always told, you should recycle your Marmite jar, get in there and clean it out. It's really a tough one, And someone said, it's like, but all of that, it's like turning up to a massive oil spill with a dustpan and brush. It's like, you really can't do anything about it. And these things are going to come and go, and today it's this thing, tomorrow it's another thing, and what can we do? Embrace it. Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he used to say, if they drop the bomb, then I see that it's Krishna coming to claim me. We shouldn't be afraid of these things. No necessity. There's always something, right? Just recently, worldwide epidemic, right? Everybody was locked in their homes, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. Who dreamt that such a thing would be in our lifetime? We'd see such things, And now we see, that like mad people running the world, as Prabhupada says that in his in his commentary on Ishopanishad. He says in there, the world is run by man-eating demons who are bent on destroying the world. What can we do about that? Nothing we can do about that. So it's all part of our individual and collective karma. Jai Gurudev. Then Saraswati Thakur, he said, that all these things, they're already written. They're already preordained, if you like. And there's nothing that you can do to stop it. Saraswati Thakur's words. Nothing you can do to stop our individual and collective karma coming to us. It's already happening. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And also there's nothing you can do to make it happen. Like we have some ideas and to make things happen in our life. Everyone wants to, find success and satisfaction and happiness in their life. And we're all told, that, anything's possible if you work hard and apply yourself to it. But that's really not true, is it? It's not true. As if it were true that just by hard work you could get everything, then every woman in Africa would be a millionaire, wouldn't they? They're walking 20 miles to bring back water for their family and things like that. These are people working really hard just to survive. That we say, like, you're just running to stand still. We're in this kind of deficit, always in a deficit. So nothing you can do to stop it, nothing you can do to make it happen, whatever that is, Then don't waste your time for that. Utilize your time for something else. And what is that? That is to try earnestly to practice Krishna consciousness. It's the only thing that's worth pursuing in this world. Everything else is like fleeting, And even if you find something that gives you joy, that gives you satisfaction, everything, it's very transient. It's here today and gone tomorrow. So, then, because we are at odds with this material world. We're not meant for this material world. So, some years ago, I was in Kiev, actually, on the Ukraine. I think you were there, Keshwan Prabhu. We were going on those boats down the river. 2 boats. Avadut Maharaj hired these 2 boats, and we're having Kīrtan and all of this. So he sent me, Avadut Maharaj sent me like downstairs to like answer questions from the devotees that were down there. Then one lady, she said to me, like, where there's so much suffering and so much injustice in the world, why doesn't Krishna put that right? Why doesn't he like sort it out? And my reply was, if he thought he needed to do that, he would have done it already, And Saraswati Thakur, when he was asked a similar question, why there's so much suffering, why there's so much injustice, why there's all these problems in life that all of us face, and that to a man, there's not anybody that doesn't have some tragedy that they have to face in their life at some point. Everyone, everyone's going along trying to make their life a happy life, and then something just out of the blue comes and just knocks you for 6. And nobody asked for that, nobody wants that, but it just happens. And so Saraswati Thakur's reply to that was, that's to remind you that this world isn't your home. If he made everything perfect, then we go, yeah, this is pretty good. Quite happy to stay here forever. Lovely. But no, we're to be reminded that this isn't our home. This isn't what we're meant for. We're meant for something else, something higher, something deeper. And this is you can say, a testing ground, if you like, where we're always going to be faced with this difficulty or that difficulty, or something. Nothing. What do they say? The greatest plans of mice and men are oft to go astray. Then that's how it is. You sent me that great Airbnb for the festival in May. 12 bed spaces, 6 bedrooms, like really close to the temple. So I reserved it. We can put people up there. They're fantastic. Last night, your reservation has been cancelled. Came through, Why? Bugger. Why? They just said, due to some health and safety issue, we've cancelled your reservation. So we have to look again now, I was once I booked that already, and I thought, this is great. Everything's going according to plan. But no, of course not. So what to do? Even I remember I was talking with Pandita about this the other day, that at one time, then one devotee who was like in charge of the London temple, he closed the temple, sold it, and stole the deities away, and hid them in a house. And Dayānidhi Prabhu remembers very well all of that,
Stole them back.
And yeah, we went and we stole them back, but why was I talking about that?
It's not going to plan.
Yeah.
Making plans.
Yeah, so, we didn't want that. We went there and we made some attempt, and we stole the deities back. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, oh yeah, that's what it was. So we rang Gurudev, we brought the deities back. We took them to Madhu Shyam's house, we went there, and Gurudev said, yes, since they went, I've been offering incense to their photograph every day and praying that they'll come back. And they come back. But then later on, then Gurudev said to us, so your temple was stolen by Krishna. And why did he do that? Because he wants to see how much you will sacrifice for him to make that again, make that temple again. So he saw in that way very divine vision, and yeah, little by little we did that again. We did that, We can, because I think Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be complacent, Everything, like you think, oh yeah, we could. One devotee, actually, I remember telling Gurudev, this devotee, he came and he had this plan. This plan, like a system. He was a gambler, and he had this plan, a system, like what they call an accumulator. I don't really understand all of that. I have to say, I proudly say, I've never been in a betting shop in my entire life, so I don't know what it's all about. But apparently, you have a succession of bets on this one win. If that horse comes in first, then the next race another, and it kind of accumulates, right? So he was explaining to Gurudev this whole plan that he had to make all this money for the mission, was his idea, and Gurudev was like listening. Acha, yeah, okay then. Then like after he explained the whole thing to him, Gurudev said, "Yes, Prabhu, very good, but just one problem." He says, "What's that, Maharaj?" He said, "You cannot do that with Guru Maharaj's money." Put the kibosh on that straight away. Shut that down. Even like we know wherever Gurudev goes, right? People give him money, and Guru Maharaj told that you don't have to ask people for money. Money will follow you wherever you go. Guru Maharaj told Srila Govinda Maharaj that, and it's true, So, and sometimes on his world tours, he was given so much money that he couldn't take it back to India with him, because they have a law about how much money you can bring from outside of India, So like in America and here in London, he asked us to open bank accounts for him. But he said, "I want a bank account with no interest." And I said, "Why, Maharaj? It's obviously, it's more money. You put that in and then it becomes more money." And he said, "I do not want to make interest from my Guru Maharaj's money." So we really tried, and it's impossible to get a savings account that doesn't bear interest. It just doesn't exist, It doesn't exist. So we got one which was really low rate interest on that. But then I think maybe you can get that kind of account if you go to like Muslim banks, because they have some rule about like not charging interest on loans and things like that. But anyway, we didn't know that, so there's not that many of those around in the UK. But so and when they introduced the lottery here in the UK, I remember the very first big jackpot win was a Muslim man who won the jackpot, and he tried to give half of his winnings to the mosque where he attended, and they told him, "We won't accept money that's come from gambling," they told him. And I was telling this to Gurudev, and Gurudev said, "I like this kind of religion." So Gurudev, he had a very different idea about money and, making money and all of these things, so than we're kind of used to. But still, that's why he wouldn't, and also he didn't allow us to take a loan against the temple or anything like that. He would never allow it. But so then what to do? We can try to utilize our time to cultivate Krishna Bhakti. That will be fruitful to us. And whatever else happens, that we don't have any real control over that. In fact, my advice is, if we hear, maybe they have this emergency thing where they send you an emergency message to your telephone. Do you remember they did a practice of that some time ago? So, that comes up on your phone, nuclear missiles heading to central London. I'd say just embrace it. Run towards it. You don't want to be one of the people that survives that. This would be even worse, wouldn't it? Run towards it with your hands raised. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes, Krishna. Krishna has come.
I dare you to take me.
No, then Guru Maharaj said when, after they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he said, I thought that this was going to happen like everywhere, Guru Maharaj said, Then he said, my idea was that I would just take Tulsi Devi and go and sit on the altar with the deities with Tulsi Devi in my lap. And just wait for it to happen, It didn't happen, thankfully. So we were able to meet Guru Maharaj. By Krishna's will, it didn't happen. And Srila Prabhupada, he said the reason that Eisenhower and Churchill and all of those, where they dropped the bombs on Japan, was to kill Subhash Chandra Bose. That was their idea. He is a freedom fighter from Bengal, and he made an alliance with the Japanese to fight against the British. It was a very interesting article. His meeting with he came to meet with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his idea was to persuade Saraswati Thakur to give some of his men to come and fight with him, against the British. And Saraswati Thakur basically just shot the whole thing down, like in a few minutes, and saying, and if I dedicate myself to fighting the British now, and I die in that endeavor, then I'll have to be born as in Britain to fight against India.
Oh, God.
So, and he said, it's like, none of this is really important, then. And at the end of that conversation, Subhash Chandra Bose, he said, no one's ever spoken to me like this before, no one's ever explained this to me before. And he said, I'm not going to ask you again for this, and he said, and I'm just I'm too invested in it now to stop it. But after hearing from you, I don't really feel like to do that anymore, It's a natural thing, Even Guru Maharaj, he joined Gandhi's movement. He said, from my young age, I wanted to be a sannyasi. That was my ambition in life, to be a sannyasi. I said, but Gandhi was saying, if you just give 2 years of your life, I'll give you independence from. And I thought, for my countrymen, I should do that, And so he was he worked as an advocate for Gandhi's movement in Calcutta. But and also, we know A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he was in favour of that too. That was in his first meeting with Saraswati Thakur. He said, it's all very well, but who will hear about Chaitanya Dev's religion if we're slaves to the British? Who's going to hear that? Better that we try and get independence from them. Then we can talk about, Chaitanya Dev's message and all of these things. But Saraswati Thakur said, no, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. In fact, Saraswati Thakur said, the British are doing quite a good job of managing India. And if you speak to people that maybe there's not so many now, but when I've spoken to people of that generation in India, they always say, "Oh, we miss when the British were here." You know, many of them, not all of them, of course, but many of them. But Saraswati Thakur was saying, no, that isn't the important thing, because what Mahaprabhu's come to give isn't just for India. It's coming from India, no doubt. It's India's gift to the world, but it is for the whole world. And in that same article, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, and the day will come when all other religions vanish and only Mahaprabhu's religion will remain. So, you know, again, we're thinking like Srila Govinda Maharaj, we're thinking, yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it must be true, but I don't think it's going to happen in my life. But who knows, who knows? He knows. We don't know. This is a kind of wonderful thing that Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Dev, he understands why every single thing happens, that every single thing has a purpose, however insignificant it may seem, Just that, why a blade of grass moves this way or that way. It seems arbitrary, but there's a purpose to it, and he knows what that purpose is. We don't know, we can't know. But everything is purposeful. Nothing is arbitrary, actually. So then we have to look a little deeper, or even a lot deeper, to our understanding of things. We are only able to see things on the surface and measure that according to that, and then we make all of our decisions based on that. Oh, if 2 + 2 = 4, and then this must equal that, and that must equal this. We see this is a typical, calculating way of looking at the world, and but really we don't know anything about the world, because it's not that we've all just been placed here and the Lord has just like locked the door and thrown away the key. He's here, and he's within every atom. He's living there and controlling everything, and everything is moving according to his will, not arbitrary and not according to our will or anyone else's will. We don't live in a chaotic environment. We live in a cosmos. Cosmos means, according to a law. There's a law there, a divine law, which everything moves according to that. So we see, the plight of the conditioned souls. We see, we're here, we're struggling, we're suffering, we're all of these things. Then it seems arbitrary, it seems meaningless, it seems that's why, so many people become frustrated with life, don't they? Because they don't find any purpose in it. They only see suffering and how to become free of suffering. So, then many people there, myself included when I was younger, were attracted to Buddhism for that reason. Is this all about suffering and the negation of suffering? What the Buddha taught. Desire is the cause of suffering. And if you become free of desire and all the things that go along with that, then you'll become not just happy, but you'll become dissolved. Your suffering is only something that's going on in your mind, right? Then you could dissolve the mental system, no more suffering. But if you think about that, and I did think about this when I was younger, and in fact, I think my mother still has the letters, but I used to correspond with the Dalai Lama, and not him directly, but his secretary, and he used to write to me, and I have these letters still, and I was asking him, like, for some system of meditation. And you know, the Dalai Lama, his tradition is Tibetan Buddhism, which isn't exactly pure Buddhism. It's mixed with Tantra and animism and other things, you know, from Tibetan idea. But anyway, so he sent me this system of meditation, which they call Nad Yoga. And Nad means sound. And but more, and very sort of esoterically, but more precisely, the sound between sounds. So it's very Zen, isn't it? You know, don't know what's the sound between sounds. So anyway, you do this. The idea is you do this meditation, and then within your consciousness, you get these divine sounds. They come there, you know, and it starts with the sound of a bell, and ends with the sound of a flute. Go figure. But so anyway, I'm like a 14-year-old boy sitting in my bedroom trying to practice this meditation. And of course, the first thing about any Buddhist meditation is you have to empty your mind, like clear your mind of any thought, you know. So I'd be sitting there and thinking, is my mind, oh damn. You know, even thinking about whether you cleared your mind means you're thinking. You haven't cleared your mind, you know. So I'd be sitting there, and outside all I can hear is, you know, the traffic and the kids playing football and, you know, all these things going on. So I thought, I can't do it here. I have to go somewhere else. So at school, we used to do this lesson once a week, usually on Friday at the end of the afternoon, which they called outdoor education. So it's not exactly sports, but we used to do like rock climbing, abseiling, canoeing, orienteering, and potholing. So, and potholing means going into these caves, you know. So near where I grew up, there's a place called Simon's Yacht, and that place is full of caves there, and you can go like about 3 or 4 miles under the earth. You can go through these caves. So we used to go with our school there. So I knew where these caves were, and I thought this would be the best place to try and practice this meditation, isn't it? So I went there by myself, and found a place in a cave, you know, like really deep in there, you know, and it's so dark in there you can't even see your hand in front of your face. And I just shared that space there were some bats or something also in there. And so I'm trying to practice that meditation, but most of the time just falling asleep. That was but anyway.
In the bat cave. In the bat cave.
Yeah, in the bat cave, yeah. And, you know, so I was there for some days. I kind of lost track of, I didn't know if it was day or night or anything, you know. No, I stayed there for like 3 or 4 days and trying to do that meditation.
Did you empty your mind?
And, trying to empty my mind. But this was the realization that I got while I was in there, was that thought is a constant flow. One thought moves into another thought and another thought, and so it's almost, you know, like the stream of consciousness. Even when you're asleep, that's still going on, right? In a subconscious way. So I came to this, you know, like realization that if you do stop thinking, how would you begin thinking again? You understand? If I just stop that process, or as, you know, Guru Maharaj says, dissolve the mental system, right? So then I thought, okay, then if I stop thinking and I'm just sitting there with no thought or anything, then, you know, probably a group of school kids are going to just find my body there, you know, sitting there like a cabbage. then
Thoughtless man.
yeah, no thought, no, like, that's it, isn't it? Like no consciousness about anything, right? So then I thought, that must be what nirvana means. That must be what their goal is, right? An annihilation of the self. And it is, really. Because the Buddhists don't accept the soul. They don't believe in any eternal soul or anything like that. It's only your mental self that carries you from one body to the next, and like that. So then you stop that. You get a nirvana. You just don't exist anymore. The world doesn't exist to you, and so therefore you don't exist anymore. And when I came to that realization, I felt terrified, and I just thought, I don't want that. I really don't want that. I mean, I'd rather have the ups and downs and pain and joys of life. I don't want that nirvana. If that's what it is, I don't want it. So that was the end of my,
So you renounced the Bhakti then?
Yeah, I left the cave and went home. And it's surprising. I had long hair in those days, and it's surprising how quickly your hair gets all tangled up if you don't take care of it every day. So when I got back to civilization, I'd shear off all my hair because it was all tangled too much. And anyway, and I didn't eat anything all that time I was there either. And I was, believe it or not, I was really skinny as a kid anyway, so.
So can you explain the renunciation from the Vaishnava's point of view?
Well, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were extremely renounced, all of them. But particularly, we can say, Raghunath Das Goswami, his standard of renunciation would be, Srila Govinda Maharaj said, if you or I tried to do that, we would die in a few weeks. Raghunath Das Goswami, as we know, he was like a prince. His family were they weren't royalty, but they were so well-to-do, he lived like a prince. But after he came in connection with Mahaprabhu, he lost all, if he ever had, he lost all inclination towards that princely life. In fact, we hear that at one point he wouldn't even live within the house, his family house. He lived in the courtyard of the house rather than living in the... And his mother, she was so afraid that he was going to, run off and become a renunciate, that she suggested to her husband that we should put a chain on him, chain his leg, and then chain it so that, not that he can't move around, but that he can't leave the compound, so. But his father said no. And at that point, he was married, Raghunath Das was married. And it's said that his wife was, an apsara. She was extremely beautiful. And his father said, if she can't keep him at home, then the chain's not going to keep him at home. So anyway, then, finally, by the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, he was able to leave home and come to meet Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan and so on. And then, but at one point he's living by doing madhukari. Madhukari means, begging, basically, And you see many people in Vrindavan and other places doing that, madhukari. But after a while, he's thinking, this is Raghunath Das Goswami's thinking. This is just sense gratification. And so he's just making this what they call a Vrindavan roti, which is a thick kind of chapati on the flame like this. That's all he's eating. And then offering it to Krishna. But in the dream, Krishna came to him and said, could you add a little salt? It's like, very bland, little salt will make it better. So he did that. And Mahaprabhu was his father is sending him money, but he's using that money for the service of the Vaishnava. And he's himself living like a renunciate, just eating this like roti once a day. And then he's thinking, this is too much sense gratification, this roti, can't be having that really, can we? So then what did he do? He went to the Goshala, where they keep the cows, and they from the local temple, the leftover prasadam, they put it in a bucket or some place, and the cows eat that. But after some days in the hot sun and everything, that food, that prasadam becomes like rancid, and the cows won't even touch it. So that which was rejected by the cows, Raghunath Das would take that and wash it and eat. That would be what he would eat to live. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, if we tried to do that, we would die. But he's doing that. And Mahaprabhu came and said, why are you hiding this prasadam from me? But anyhow. But they didn't teach that. The Goswamis didn't teach renunciation. They taught Jukta Vairagya, the principle of Jukta Vairagya, then, which means like appropriate renunciation. So what that means is, because renunciation is just the other side of the coin of sense gratification. It's the same thing, it's just the other side of the coin. Bhogan tyag. This is like what happens to human beings, You overindulge in something, and then you think, I should, take it easy for a few days, a fast, and, to repair the system. So, bhoga tyag means like enjoyment and then renunciation because of your suffering from that, right? And but yukta vairagya means that we don't see that anything is ours to either to accept or reject. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to us. It belongs to him. So the Vaishnava, they don't see the world as something for their enjoyment. And also they don't see that the world is something that they should renounce. They see that the world and everything within it is meant for the satisfaction of Lord Krishna. So that means not to reject anything that comes to you, but to try to utilize that in the service of Krishna. That means it has its proper utility, and that is what Jukta Vairagya means, how to utilize everything in the service of Krishna. I remember when I first became interested in Krishna consciousness, I was visiting the temple. In those days, people used to play record albums, right? 12-inch record album, vinyl. And so they made a record. ISKCON made this record. It's called Krishna Meditations, and it was Srila Prabhupada chanting. And it was one of the record cover opened up, and in the middle was that there was a photograph of Prabhupada, and there's like a mic in the studio or something, and maybe he's playing a mridanga or something like that, and then there's a blurb inside there saying about how everything should be used for the service of Krishna, and that everything has some utility in the service of Krishna. And I remember reading that, and then it said, even the atom bomb could be used in the service of Krishna. And I remember thinking like, wow, how would that work? So, and it's not that it's not true, it is true, but the reality is, and thankfully, none of us are ever going to be in the position to have to figure out how to use an atom bomb in Krishna's service. But anyhow.
But Prabhu, at the end of the world, I mean, like in Hinduism,
Yeah.
when we say that God is the creator of the world, and at some point of time, Kali Yuga has to finish.
Yes.
Probably that would be the means of finishing.
No, it just, you see, I mean, actually it isn't the end. When Kali Yuga ends, then the Kalki avatar comes.
Yes.
And he ushers in the new Satya Yuga. So it isn't the end. But there will be an end at some point. You know, when there's the 4 yugas, they're called the Chatra Yuga, then they repeat again and again and again. But at some point there is Mahapralaya. The whole thing is destroyed. But an atom bomb isn't going to do it. Lord Shiva's dance is going to do that. That's his domain. He's the destroyer. Lord Shiva's the Rudra. He's the destroyer of the world. And at a particular time that will happen. And everything will vanish. All of the universe, the sun, the planets, everything will all vanish within the Lord. And then again it will come out. But this is like a kind of going on eternally. We cannot understand that. We can't conceive of that. You know, like that happens after 100 years of the life of Lord Brahma. And, you know, like 1 day of Lord Brahma is beyond our calculation. I mean, there is a figure. Do you know what that is? It's like so many, like millions of years. Yeah. 1 day, and 1 night. And within that time, you know, then once in the day of Brahma, Bhagavan Krishna appears in his Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. And that also means once in the day of Brahma, Swayam Bhagavan Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. Just happens by great fortune that was this last Dharpa Yuga that just happened. Krishna came as Swayam Bhagavan. Krishna comes every Dharpa Yuga, but not always as Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. He comes as the speaker of Bhagavad Gita and so on, but not showing his full Vrindavan Leela. That's only once, like in a day of Lord Brahma, which is, you know, even unthinkable, inconceivable what that length of time is. But following that, Swayam Bhagavan Chaitanya Deva also appears in this Kali Yuga, which is just now, 500 years ago, he appeared in his fullness. Not just to distribute Nama Sankirtan, but for his own internal purposes also. But this is an extraordinary thing. That Swayam Bhagavan Krishna comes to show his Leela in the earth. But even that, it's within a closed group. It's within, you know, like the fortunate few were able to witness that. In Mahabharata, there's no mention about Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. Just it may be hinted at in a few places, right? And Guru Maharaj says the only place where it's really mentioned is in the Vastraharana of Draupadi. That means, you know, when they tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly of the Kurus. So then she surrenders to Krishna. It's a very, you know, heart-rending scene. She's looking to her husbands, they're not going to do anything to help her. She's looking to grandfather Bhishma, looking to Dhritarashtra, looking to all of like the grandsires of the Kuru dynasty. They're not going to stop it. She knows that. And she's Panchali princess. She's a Kshatriya. So it means like she's strong, very strong woman. But her, like you say, captor, if you like, his name is Dushashan. He is the brother of Duryodhana. And Dushashan is a Maharati. A Maharati means that he has the strength of 1,000 elephants. It's like, that's also kind of inconceivable to us. We think, oh, that's just maybe some kind of poetic description or something. Even if someone had the strength of 1 elephant, that'd be pretty impressive, wouldn't it? But 1,000 elephants. So she knows that she can't fight him. She can't stop him doing whatever he's going to do. So then she realized no one's going to come to her aid here. So then she called to Krishna. She surrendered to Krishna there, first with one arm and the other hand holding her cloth. Then she realized that that's a waste of time. And so with both arms raised, she started calling to Krishna. And Guru Maharaj said, once she said, "Hey, Gopi Jana Balaba," this is referring to Krishna's Vrindavan Leela, the lover of the gopis, Gopi Jana Balaba. Said when Krishna heard that from her, he couldn't resist. He had to come and give his protection to her. Well, he wasn't there physically present there, but he came there and provided her unlimited cloth. So, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, this is the highest part of the whole of Mahabharata, Draupadi's surrender to Krishna. It's called the Vastra Harana of Draupadi. He said it's even higher than Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita falls within the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharata, but even higher than the Gita is Draupadi's surrender to Krishna. But other than that, and maybe a few places where, even in Gita, Krishna may have called, Arjuna may have called Krishna by, some Vrindavan name. But otherwise, it's not mentioned there. You won't find it there, any mention of that. Mahabharata is the main scripture of the people in Kali Yuga. No one really saw that. But when Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev came, it's like he broke that open. That was, locked and confined and not spread around to anyone. But Mahaprabhu came and he broke the lock on that, opened the doors wide to that, and distributed that to everyone. To everyone. I mean, this is extraordinary, that we've come in connection with that is extraordinary. That I'm sitting here talking to you about that is extraordinary. My father worked in an abattoir, shooting cows in the head and hauling cows in the back of his lorry. That's my lineage, I remember once sitting with Srila Govinda Maharaj in Navadvip, and he had some friends that come to visit him, and Ashram Maharaj was there, Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj Gurudev is telling these people, oh yeah, like the glories of Ashram Maharaj and his family. Apparently his father was like highly regarded general in the Mexican army, and like a whole thing. And Gurudev's proudly telling that, to these gentlemen that had come there. Ashram Maharaj is sitting there quietly embarrassed, and I was thinking, what would he say about me? Yeah, his father worked at Bokit Slaughterhouse, and his mother picked potatoes on the local farm. So how is it possible that I've come in connection with this highest thing? And really, it is the highest thing. We shouldn't have any doubt about that. That what Mahaprabhu has come to give, it is the very highest conception. So that Srila Guru Maharaj would say, is a Bengali saying. The rainy day isn't a bad day, but the bad day is that day when we can't hear something about Krishna. That's the bad day. So, then we say about like all the faults of Kali Yuga. It's a terrible time, it's the worst of times, everything. But that's not really the bad day. The bad day, it's not that, not measured by that, but measured by the revelation of divinity that Chaitanya Deva has come to give. That's why, Jai Guru, that's why Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, this verse which is quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Anarpita Chirim Chirat, Karunya Vatina Kalo Samarpaita Manuto Jalarasam Sabhakti Shriyam. That this Anarpita Chirim Chirat, that means no other avatar has given what you've come to give. Even Krishna didn't give this. Mahaprabhu came to give this, and he made that accessible to everyone. Krishna says in the Gita to Arjuna, Sarva Dharmam Prityaja, we know that's like the clarion call. Surrender to me and you will come to me. But Mahaprabhu doesn't even say that. He just says, would you like some Krishna Prema? Here you go, take it. I don't care, you're surrendered or not surrendered, qualified or not qualified. Here it is. And even if you don't want it, here's my friend Nityananda Prabhu, have a little talk with him, and then say you don't want it. So, we live in the best time. This is the best time. Srila Guru Maharaj said, the gods in heaven praying to take birth in Kali Yuga so that they can take part in Chaitanya Dev's Sankirtan movement. And Gurudev said, someone asked him, this a golden age appear in the Kali Yuga, and somewhere maybe it says for the next 10,000 years, and like what's that all about? And Gurudev said, well, it began when Mahaprabhu appeared, but it's not over yet. It's not like come to an end yet. 10,000 years, we're only like 500 years in. So then what will happen? What amazing, magical, miraculous, mystical things are going to happen. Even, I'd hazard to say, in our own lifetime. We'll be surprised, I think. So, then, they have this, when people make some new thing, they call like a startup or something in a startup company, and they ask people to invest in it. They say early bird benefits. If you invest now, then you'll get early bird benefits, like special benefits, maybe 2 of whatever it is for the price of 1, or So that's kind of where we are now. This is the early bird time, and if you invest in that now, you can get that. You can get the early investor benefits from that. Just come forward and take part in it. Mm-hmm. That's all that's required. That just come forward and give it a go. Just hang around with the devotees. I want to make ārati, but just for a few minutes. When we were talking earlier about when India got independence from British rule, so. At that time, there were a lot of people protesting in the street, right? And they were getting arrested and locked up. So sometimes, then there's like a big mob of people going in the street. Sometimes people joined that. They didn't even know what it was. They didn't even know what was going on. That they just saw there's a big crowd. Oh, yeah, let's go and see what happens, right? So they don't even know what's happening. And they ended up getting arrested. And then thrown in jail, right? They're like, what? But I was just coming to see what was going on. It doesn't matter, you're in the jail now. So then when India got independence, they released all the prisoners, obviously, right? All the prisoners that had been put in prison for protesting British rule. Then these guys that were in prison they didn't even know why, they were in prison, what was going on. They didn't even know. But they became heroes. Oh, you've stood up to the British. Here's a house, here's some money, we're going to take care of you now, like that. So, yeah, pension and all these things, They didn't even know why they were there. So something like that, if you just come along, that'll happen to you also, to us. I think we don't really know, but we like it, right? We like it. Then okay, then when the rewards come, they may also come to us, the early investor rewards. Just hang around. Gurudev told me once in Green Street, he said, anyone that stays in the line of Guru Maharaj must get the service of Rupa Manjari. And what do you think about that? He said. And I'm like, Maharaj, I don't even know what that means, But if you say it's so, I believe it, Then after that I was thinking, okay, but what does it mean to be in the line of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Does it just mean that you just showed up, Obviously it's not that, right? But then I thought, but Srila Govinda Maharaj, he's so merciful that if you just show up, that's enough for him. That's enough. We meet him at the airport, and he's just embracing everybody that's there, that's come to meet him. And sometimes I see him embracing people that he's never met before. He doesn't even, and he's looking at me going, "Who's this? Who is it?" And that was how he was. And then sometimes he would say, "Oh, I need to stop this." I embrace everybody and I believe everybody, but I don't know even who they are. So he said, "This is my fault." But he maybe said this is his fault, but this is his grace. Just that we showed up, sometimes that's enough. So keep showing up. Keep showing up.
It's like the pure devotee sees everybody as a devotee already.
Yeah. Yes. And by their grace they can become so.
Yeah.
And when Mahaprabhu was in Jharkhanda, even the animals became filled with Krishna prema. The deer and the tigers kissing each other and embracing and chanting the holy name of Krishna. Incredible. Then it's not less now that Mahaprabhu is not physically present. It doesn't mean that his mission is not as potent as when he was actually here. No, it is. It's the same. Maybe we don't understand that, can't see that. But it is the same. And you just have to become somehow or another involved in it. Somehow. And Gurudev would say that, when you come to Guru Maharaj, it's like getting on the express train. And he would say, only the devotees have to tolerate how quickly that happens. That's the only thing they really need to tolerate, how quickly that happens. So, that's really fantastic, isn't it? That means there's hope for everybody. And after all, that's Mahaprabhu's ethos. His very purpose for being is to rescue the fallen souls. Then he has to go to the area where there's lots of fallen souls. So here we are. This is so that we shouldn't think, born in such a bad time, or we're in the material world. How come we're not in Goloka Vrindavan? Why did we make that choice to come here? Or how did we get here? But but we're prone to be scooped up and rescued by Chaitanya Dev and his devotees. Then I think that's the best birth, isn't it? The best birth. To get that. Okay. Dayānidhi Prabhu, you're up now for ārati. Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Vaishnav Sevan Kari Brinda Ki Jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Devashis Prabhu.
Yashomati Nandana Prajaparana Gara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Yashomati Nandana Prajaparana Gara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Yashomati Nandana Prajaparana Jai